are the nominated songs. Now, who is the winner, do you know?
You open it, honey. I don't do sight bets.
Howard. Gigi. From
Gigi. I'm out of love.
Right out. This is a very great honor. Thank you very much.
And I want to thank you from the bottom of my somewhat damaged heart.
At this juncture, may I introduce a young man who is breaking in his white tie, his tails, and his material at the same time, Mr. Mort Saul. Mort.
Well, we just lost the college crowd, and they're all over America. They're saying sellout, but it's okay. Sir Lawrence will be out later in the sweater, for those of you who are waiting. Now, I wanted to mention, first of all, that I think recognition is due Trans World Airlines, or TWA as it's known at the corner, for flying the foreign personnel in, and Ms. Varsi out, although she was referred to earlier. And Sterling Hayden took the boat. I checked all this before we started. We're going to have a category later for the best Diane Varsi joke. We're coming to that later. I did want to mention, among other things, that I'm just barely in the Academy. And I just did one picture, although I was going to say about TWA one point. The jet started April 1st, I understand. I just found that out backstage. And as you know, when they fly over Kansas, it's a dry state. And the stewardesses always announce that and say there'll be a 30-second break when the bar will be closed. I want to mention that earlier. Anyway, that's another problem. Now, just to know that we're organized, the first picture I worked on had all Actors Studio people in it. Now, you may have some out front, and they're usually New York actors, and a lot of them have been out here between 5 and 7 years on studio secure contracts, but they don't want to give in to the town. So they usually live in hotels and for 5 or 7 years, and they rent cars, and they don't maintain long relationships. And most of them shop at night. We have 2 all-night markets here in Hollywood. And they walk in there at night, and they usually shop in very Spartan fashion and buy something like maybe instant coffee and Woolite, for the socks, and Coke. This is for real. And then the checker always says, don't you want to buy more than 1 Coke about the 6-pack? And the actors always say, well, no, because I might be going back to New York. That's what you usually say, right? Right. Now, so... So whenever you talk to them, they always say things like, that they think this is a phony town, because they do have integrity. They're hard to talk to because these are bright guys, all been in analysis, as I say. They always say, well, I think it's a phony town, but I'm kind of tired of the theater in New York because New York is a sterile town. But I did stock in the Midwest, and I know that's a cultural desert. And I had to leave my home in the South because I was suffocating as a person. So there's not an awful lot you can say to that, like, yeah. Were you happy on the train? You saw, right? So, I know. Anyway. For authority. Anyway, I was going to give 2 awards tonight to the longest location trip, and I didn't get a chance to, it was uncontested. It was supposed to go to Stanley Kramer for making On the Beach in Australia before the world beats him to it, I might add. And also because the picture, as you know, has to do with the recession that we suffered, but we're over now, luckily. And as you know earlier, the picture is about a hydrogen war. That's what it's about, if you haven't read the book. And at the end of this war, which goes on for 12 years, a stalemate between Russia and the United States, then at the end of that time, there are only 8 people left alive on Earth, and 4 of them are out of work. That's what I was going to say. Now, I just have one bulletin. I found out that President Truman was in the audience, and he got 4 seats. He's kind of lucky that way. And I mentioned some of the younger actresses only know backstage, only know Mr. Eisenhower. And I explained President Truman in terms of how I know him best. I was in the service under General MacArthur. That's the frame of reference. And as you... Really? As you recall, General MacArthur led us through the water. You'll recall I returned with the, right? I will return with the scrambled eggs and the cap and his ribbons, right? Remember? And the open shirt. And then he walked through the water there. And there was a rumor in our outfit that he had originally planned to walk on the water, but President Truman had interfered. Remember? Remember that? Now, the next category is fixed. And it's for the most active network in bringing you the Academy Awards. And the nominations, as I understood them, were CBS, and it starts with Cuban and goes on from there, the initials. And the next were for ABC, and then the Mutual Network. I think they've got a radio man out in the press tent. And NBC. And I brought the envelope here, which I've opened to save time. And the winner is NBC. The National Broadcasting Company. And I hope right now the stockholders will come forward and identify themselves station by station.